News for the Vale with State Member for Mildura, Ali Kappa. Not with me, Nova 100's Nicole Gunn from Coronavirus Central of Melbourne. It's these podcasters from Robinvale.
Oh, that's my old friend Nicole Gunn from Melbourne's Nova 100.
That's so cool. You are so well connected.
So well. I've been around, Ellie. I've been around.
It's very impressive.
And Gunner still does favours for me like that, bless her, even though she's flat out at the moment, and she has been. So we thank her for that, for her time.
Yeah. That's great. Tell her thank you.
Yeah, I certainly will. And how are you, Ellie? You'd be flat chat at the moment as well. There's been so much news this week.
I know. It's been so good. And especially so on Tuesday, that was the return of the hospital, which was just amazing. It was just such a special event. And so, there was a real buzz around town because of that. And we and also I want to make it clear, this is not just a very Mildura-centric win. This is a win for the broader region as well, including specifically the Valley track and Robinvale, because Mildura-based hospital with a much more outward public focus rather than an inward bottom line focus is going to be far more, and in fact Terry Welsh, the new CEO, said this in his comments at the official little ceremony, that connecting with and supporting Robinvale and Mallee Track is going to be one of the core jobs and projects of the incoming board. So it's just so exciting. We absolutely know that this is going to be transformative for the delivery of healthcare, particularly acute healthcare in our region. And yeah, wonderful. Plus the day was beautiful that day. Plus we'd had the announcement about the $4.4 million for TAFE. Plus we had the announcement about the easing of restrictions. Yeah. And that was the Victorian restrictions, which was really cool because it meant that we're jumping to stage 3 quicker and jumping to the third step quicker, and the third step having some of the last step incorporated into it, including beauty and indoor dining. And then the New South Wales announcement,
the river announcement. It's been, I tell you what, the beauty thing hasn't come quick enough. My eyebrows are starting to consume my face.
I know, and my nails. Look, I hadn't had my nails done for I actually haven't had them done since I had a baby, so that's a long time.
Oh my God.
It's like when you can't do something, you want it more.
Mm-hmm.
So that was when I was like, I need to get my nails done, and that is going to be the first thing I do. Nails, going to Sip, our local bar just around the corner, for a drink, and taking Jed to the playground.
Oh my gosh. You just said Sip, and all I can think about is unicorn martinis now.
Oh, yeah. Well, Jade, next time you're in town, I'm in town on Saturday.
I'm in town on Saturday morning. Can I have one for breakfast?
Well, these are unprecedented times.
Oh, they are unprecedented times, but it's been so good to have some good news. And when you talk about having your nails done, I haven't had mine done. Oh God, I don't even know. I'm not one to sit still for long enough to have my nails done. But I did look at my toenails yesterday when it was 28 degrees and I couldn't wear closed-toed shoes without being uncomfortable, and thought, oh, gee whiz, I really do need a pedicure. So thank goodness, like all this stuff. And it seems to, as soon as this was announced, it was like immediately everyone's mood shifted. Everyone was up and about and everyone had a smile on their face. And it couldn't have, it could have come 6 months ago, let's face it, but or 6 weeks ago. But now things just seem to have lifted a little bit. So it's... I know. You're reporting on something positive this week.
Yes, that's it. So I absolutely agree with all of that. And I'm hoping that one of the positive legacies out of all of this ordeal is that we will realise that or appreciate more that it's the little things in life that are the big things. And it's those little things that you just otherwise just don't think about, just sort of walking through your little local shopping precinct and seeing people chatting in the streets, and having, because there's tables and chairs sort of laid out and you've got people sitting around, and just that, you know, that ability to have a friend over, or you know, just these little things that, you know, they don't feel that big at the time, but that they are what makes life worth living.
Well, that's it. And you have them taken away, and all of a sudden you realise how much you've taken them for granted. So I think having it with friends, or just sitting down to have a coffee at a cafe, is such a big thing now. And I've just been to Loft to have lunch because I can. So
because you can, that's it. It's just it's so hopefully, you know, I mean, it's that idea of you don't want to waste a crisis, and as terrible as it's been, that's something I hope that we can cling to, that we're going to come out of this a little bit wiser.
Now, talk us through, so the river has opened up. I saw your live video on Facebook.
Yeah.
So we still need permits though, don't we?
Yes. So the river now is think of it this way. The river is part of the border bubble, so the cross-border zone. My interpretation at this point, and this is all subject to the New South Wales Public Health Order, which I haven't read yet. That's, if it's even out, I'm not sure. But my interpretation is this, that you know, the old C permit that we had for 5 minutes, and it actually worked pretty well, but then they took it away from us. Where provided you live in the cross-border zone and you're going to somewhere else in the cross-border zone, you can crisscross as many times as you like, and it doesn't matter what the purpose is. All that matters is the location, right? And that it includes the river. Yeah, so that's great. The thing that is that we're working through at the moment, because it has caused some disappointment, is for like our river-based tourism operators. Because what they're saying is the frustration is now that, you know, in regional Victoria, you can travel where you want. So there's going to be Victorian tourists sort of coming to Mildura, or regional Victorian tourists coming to Mildura. So that's good. But because they are not border residents,
and they can't get that permit.
They can't get that's right. So I know it's so that. What we're doing at the moment is we're working on that to try and see if there can be some special exemptions or something along those lines. But for tourism operators who are saying, look, we're not going to park on the New South Wales side, you know, all we're going to do is go for a little bit of a cruise and then come back. So pick them up in Victoria, drop them off at Victoria, stay in Victoria all the time. Can that be an exemption, the basis for an exemption? And so that's sort of what we're working on now. But the other thing we're saying to people in the meantime is, we've got school holidays coming up. Be a tourist in your own town.
Yes.
If it was ever, it has never been more important for us to do that, because then that can help to make up for, you know, that frustrating, rule that may otherwise limit the value of this, you know, easing of restrictions for those operators.
Yeah, and it'll certainly help all of those businesses that have suffered so much, and they really have, particularly tourism operators, and they'll continue to do so until, you know, tourism can open back up to the much, much wider Australian and international markets, and that will be a long time away, I would imagine. But they have suffered a lot. So doing things like going for a paddle steamer ride, or going to Mungo, or just having a staycation, like booking an indulgent apartment or booking a room at the Robinvale Motel and just having beers around the pool and
so
things
true.
Like that. You know, even something like that, because we haven't been able to go anywhere now. I've even considered just booking a motel room at the bridge just to sit around the pool, and especially now the weather's nice, why wouldn't you? Absolutely. And that's what we've been running our Only Local campaign to really encourage that, you know, to say, look, just step away from the mouse.
Unless you're doing your online shopping with a local store that has an online presence, don't, you know, make sure that if you need something, you go. In fact, I wanted to get, like, I'm one of those people where I buy something relatively inexpensive, like a lamp, and then use that to justify, like, oh, now I need somewhere to put the lamp. Must pay $2,000 for a sideboard. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't. Well, yeah, I kind of do. Yeah.
For one lamp that costs like $60, but then I got it, you know. Anyway, so I went to a furniture shop today and said to them, look, because there was nothing really that was going to suit this part of my house, and so I said, do you have a catalogue like, do your suppliers have a catalogue so I can look through the catalogue so then I can order it but through you guys, you know, so you guys get the commission and whatever else, and that's that's something that we're encouraging. But on top of that, you know, if people can really do that tourist in your own town thing, and especially, I mean, I'll speak for myself. Look, I've been one of the lucky ones who has had a stable income through this horror show of a year, right?
Yep.
If I have the ability to spend a few $100 on a hotel, you know, overnight, and my family can go and have some fun, then now's the time to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I said the same thing to Luke yesterday. Right, where are we going next weekend? Let's pick somewhere. Maybe somewhere we haven't even been, or let's just go and spend the weekend in Mildura, or just for that. But then when I heard that the river was open and we could go in the river again, let's get the caravan and the boat out and go camping.
Yes. And you were very excited because I saw your comment on Facebook today, and you were excited.
Oh, there was tears when I watched that video. There was tears, because even for someone that runs along the river, putting your legs in there up until today has been illegal. I haven't been able to have like an ice bath in the, just quietly between you and me, I've been doing it anyway, but it's been illegal, and you feel like a bit of an outlaw just going to have your ice bath afterwards. And the mere fact that now that the weather has started to get really nice, we haven't the prospect and the uncertainty of whether we're going to be able to go camping, whether we're going to be able to put the boat in, you know, all of that kind of stuff. You're just like, ugh. But then when I heard that this morning, it was like, oh, the weight has finally lifted. I couldn't care about anything else. The weight's been lifted. Let's go camping. Let's get the caravan out and go.
It's great. It's so exciting. And so, look, I mean, one of the areas of controversy is masks, you know, people being still upset about wearing masks. But what I've been saying is, look, if wearing a mask can give everyone more confidence, so our government, the New South Wales government, hopefully the South Australian government, if they budge soon, some confidence that we are maximising the safety, and that can then, you know, lead to earlier reopening and accelerated pace of, you know, the rolling reopenings and things like that. Let's just do it, you know. I think that, I mean, I get it that it's a pain. Obviously, it's something we don't want to be doing, and I'm certainly concerned about comfort levels when it gets to the height of summer. But until it gets to those temperatures, let's just stay the course, because the masks are something that are really like low cost, pretty easy, probably the least inconvenient part of all of this. There's been a lot more inconvenience in the masks, and really high reward. You know, so anyway, so I think that, you know, hopefully masks, that order will be lifted soon, but in the meantime, I think it's really important we just hang in there.
Yeah, and it may only be for the next, you know, 6 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
I do forget them often, though. I always forget my mask. I walked around the entire supermarket yesterday afternoon. No one said anything to me. People were looking at me, but people look at me all the time anyway, so I didn't really take much notice until I got to the checkout, and they went, "You've forgotten something?" I went, "Oh,
yeah.
I've been in here for half an hour. No one said anything." But
I've done that a lot of times too. It's usually when I see the first person coming towards me with a mask, and that's when I'm conscious of it. And you're very athletic. I'm not. So for me to run from here to the doorway, I'd probably just about collapse. And so I've been, because can you imagine me walking around, you know, around my neighbourhood not wearing a mask? And if someone took a photo of that and just like, see, look, she's ignoring the rules.
Yeah.
You know, it's not good. And so I'm very, very self-conscious if I realise I've forgotten my mask. So I've had to like do the exercise exemption, you know, like as in run as fast as I can, to be like, see, I'm exercising.
It's been a real driver. Like, I'm not going to walk with a mask on. So you know what? I'll run the whole way. I'm not going to stop because I didn't bring a mask with me. You know, I might wear a buff around my hair, which is beautiful. So I can pull it down if I do stop. But it's been a great incentive to actually get the bum moving. So I'm glad it's working the same for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one day I actually, because I was like a couple of Ks away from home, and I didn't want to have to run the whole way. So what I did was I had a hoodie on, so I just moved the hoodie around and I put like the hood over my head, as in over my face.
So you couldn't see either, like the whole hood over your.
Fair enough. I embellished the story a little bit. No, so I moved the hood around and just held it here so I could still see. but everything else was covered by the hood.
So you turned into a ninja.
Basically, yeah.
Awesome.
Which is,
We could have taken a photo of that. That would have been hilarious. Ninja Alley. Imagine the PR campaign you could build with that.
well, that's true, exactly. And it is, I do have 2 years to plan my next campaign. So maybe.
I'm just saying, you can have that idea. You can have it for free. That's fine. You're welcome.
You're very kind.
Yeah, I know. You're welcome.
We might be having a council election coming up too, Jade. So
yes.
Don't be giving away those good ideas too easily.
No, I don't think I could get away with being a ninja. I'm not built to be a ninja. Ninjas are small and nimble and agile, and I am not. But nominations do open for council elections today, and Mildura looks like it's going to be really competitive.
Yeah, well, yes, I think so. I mean, we've got some really good, really strong and interesting candidates in the field. Last council election for Mildura, there were 28 candidates.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, 28 candidates, and none of the existing councillors were stepping down.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a competitive election. Like that was. Yeah. So when you say there's a lot of, it's going to be a big competitive field, like it probably will be, but last time it was just nuts. So,
wow.
Yeah, but we've got some really, look, I'm so excited. Like I just think, because I'm a politics nerd, so I love all elections. And the council elections are always so fascinating, and the results are always so interesting because you've got a group of people. And so there's lots of kind of like, I wonder what their dynamic's going to be like, and you've got them and them and them, and I wonder, then you've got the, the sort of the intrigue of the mayoral elections every single year. It's like, what are the manoeuvres going to be, and how's it all going to come out, and what combinations are going to sort of have a crack, and so I just think. I think local government politics is just absolutely fascinating.
It is fascinating, but I don't think in Swan Hill it's going to be anywhere near that interesting. And I was disappointed when I managed to get into council. There was, I nominated unopposed. There was nobody else. So I was kind of like,
ready for a
campaign, and that's a bit disappointing. And I fear in Swan Hill Rural City Council we may have much of the same. So we only have 7 positions. Like I said, nominations open today. They close Tuesday week. So and now with all the mandatory training and the new Local Government Act and the new Minister for Local Government and all those changes that have been made, I don't think the Swan Hill one's going to be as interesting. I mean, I hope it is. I hope there's a lot of people who want to put their hand up, but so far it's all been very, very quiet. Unlike the Mildura, because I'm watching all of these different candidates pop up on Facebook and I'm like, great, this is amazing. And I've done my Facebook and I'm like, well, nobody else is really doing this for us yet, and I'm not competing against anyone. So anyway.
No, well, look, I mean, you've got a different system too, because you've got that ward system.
We don't now.
Oh, actually, you don't anymore, do you?
No, we're unsubdivided now. This is what I mean. So at least I'll get a little bit of a fun.
Oh, well, of course it's going to be interesting then. This is I think it's going to be really interesting. So, well, I mean, look, I think that, there's the more candidates and the more diverse candidates, you're right, the more interesting the race is. But I think that personally, I think that people like you have had a transformative effect. And I think that that's going to happen over time. People from, who are very, no, but seriously, who are very dynamic and who are very, interesting and forward thinking and visible. All of those things I think are going to make a real difference. And these things happen over time. Like the Mildura Council elections last time with the 28 candidates. That was anomalous. That wouldn't normally happen. So there was just sort of, there has been really in Mildura in the last, let's say 10 years roughly, sort of a shifting of the political landscape, and people are becoming much more engaged, and conversations are becoming much more, diverse and complex, and so that's probably something that people like you, I think, will inspire.
And that's good though. And I've been saying for years that people really do need to be more politically aware and be aware of what casting a vote for one individual or the other, or not one and the other, what all of that really means.
Yeah.
Last time with Mildura, 2016, what was it, do you think, that caused such an anomalous candidate run?
I don't know. I still don't really know. Other than I think maybe social media. Like that's the only thing that maybe springs to my mind, and that alone doesn't explain it. But perhaps the fact that there was a lot of talk in probably every council, particularly in Mildura, the last time about rates. The issue of rates, that was a really hot topic with a lot of different voices and ideas in that, so whether, and that was, we had the creation of our Ratepayers Association, and there was some quite heated politics going on. So whether that sort of explains some of it, I'm not sure. But look, I think that, that is what, that should be the natural state of things in local government, because local government is the tier of government that's closest to the people. I had a friend who was in federal politics, and he was an MP in Metro Melbourne, and he would do door knocking all the time. He was really like that direct face-to-face contact all the time, not just in campaign time, but all the time.
Wow.
And he'd door knocking his electorate and he'd say, what are the issues? And he said 90% of the issues people had were local government. Not state government, not federal government. 90% at least was all about local government, because they are the issues that people engage with most frequently on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So it should be hotly contested. It should be. But again, I've seen you and Charlie. I forget what the discussion was one day, but I was there and just kind of like almost just observing you and Charlie and Donnie, like having this bloodbath argument.
It would have been over Daniel Andrews probably.
But it was great, because it's like, this is a contest of ideas.
Yeah.
And for a long time, particularly, and I can only speak for my own community, but for a long time, it didn't feel like it was okay to have a genuine contest of ideas. At the time, we only had one newspaper and, like an hour, news bulletin. It was very much there was a lot of groupthink. And the conversation was dominated by one political party and one political ideology and one, kind of a political class almost in our community.
Yeah.
And often the same people were on all the different statutory boards, and the same people were, so it felt more like a closed shop. Whereas over time, probably partly because of social media and because of the diversity of platforms for conversations, that has shifted. And I think that's what the Vale's doing, providing that, and actually modelling that, just saying, here we all are, we're all at each other. There's no groupthink here. We all have very different opinions. And we're great mates, but it's good to be able to share those ideas.
Well, that's it. And it's, everyone does have an opinion. Everyone's entitled to an opinion. And as long as you can discuss them and have those conversations in a respectful way, why shouldn't you? And why shouldn't you have them publicly to share those ideas?
That's absolutely right. That's so true. And I think, I am a democracy nerd. I think that democracy is a gift.
Yeah.
And so we should use it.
It is, and it's something we shouldn't take for granted. Let me ask you this then, Ali. How do you feel about the monarchy? Are you a monarchist or an Australian Republican?
Well, I'm a Republican. Yeah.
Right. Good answer.
Partly just because I just don't get monarchies. Like I don't get it. It's like we have this family who they all just they're just people. What's the big deal? And also I have a problem with, and I think this is fundamentally anti-democratic. Being elevated and having certain status and certain stuff based on who you're born to. Democracy. One of the cornerstones of democracy is about merit. To me. And the thing the thing that blows my mind more than anything else is the fact that people in, let's say, England, kind of that anyone would consent to their tax dollars going towards one person's wedding dress.
Yeah, correct.
When those people have colonised just about every part of the world, so they've got a lot of wealth, they can afford the dress themselves.
Yep. And
that's
not a great way looking back.
No. So I just don't get it. And I know there's probably like maybe a romance to it, like when you're a little girl, you get to, wouldn't we wonderful to be a princess? And so maybe people just love castles and kingdoms and all that sort of stuff. But it's all just, it's all just a facade. They're just a normal family.
Yeah, I agree. I can agree with you more. And I've been asking the question for the last couple of years. Do you think it's time for another referendum? Do you think we need to, or leave it another 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, and this is one of the things about the royal family, I think. I mean, they sort of, once upon a time, royalty was based on this very elitist class system where they were considered better than everybody else, and they considered themselves better than everybody else. Sorry, my phone's about to run out of battery. I'll just plug it in. Now what they've done is it's been this interesting pivot, because I think it was sort of understood that, look, in this day and age, people aren't going to, your average person isn't going to go, oh, yeah, you are so much better than me and your kids are so much better than my kids, so therefore I'm going to, happily defer to you and bow and scrape. So what they've done to, I think, remain relevant, and it's quite clever but also a bit sneaky, is they've made it all about charity now.
Mm-hmm.
Charity and celebrity, and it's more that sort of vein, than the kings and the queens and the elitism and we're better than you and so you need to kiss our feet, because so it's a clever manoeuvre to remain relevant in a modern world, but still I think the whole thing is a con job.
Yeah, I just don't think the monarchy is relevant to us. Like, we're old enough to look after ourselves by now. I think it's really for a rethink.
And I've heard people say, oh, but the Queen's such a nice lady. It's like, yeah, but so is my nan.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally, who died and made you king, Elizabeth?
Her father.
Queen. Yeah, okay, all right. Bad argument.
Yeah.
but, and that's the other funny thing about it. The only reason, we've got Queen Elizabeth and whatever is because one of the uncle or whatever decided that he was going to divorce and get married to somebody else, and he abdicated the throne. Otherwise, William and Harry and those people, they'd all be just like,
yeah, no one.
Fringe aristocrats at this point at best.
Yeah, they'd be still Mountbatten. Yeah, aristocrats, and that would be
That's
it.
right.
Look at, I mean, the history's fascinating. I'm a history nerd, so the history of it's fascinating. And reading through the palace letters that were released earlier this year,
so excited about that, weren't you?
I was so excited because I thought, right, this will be the catalyst. I know that the Queen knew, and I was absolutely certain that she knew, and she played a part, and I still think she did, by the way. But they've gone about it in a much more covert way after reading.
Wasn't it sort of like she knew but she just didn't care enough?
Correct, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, she didn't give the direction, but she knew, and her people knew. So when they came out, I thought, right, there'll be a letter here that says, yep, go and do this, and we can go, oh, the monarchy's having something to do with our political system, and we need to hold a referendum, and we need to become a republic now, and that didn't happen. So I was kind of disappointed about that. But,
yeah. But I think in some ways it does still, it's still like, I mean, either it was going to show that they were meddling in our democratic processes, or it was going to show that they're just so disinterested that they wouldn't, or they're so irrelevant that they wouldn't.
Yeah.
So either way, like, it sort of confirms I think the argument for, sorry, my phone's doing weird things, but it sort of confirms the argument for moving on.
Well, yeah.
I reckon.
And it was very much column B. She just didn't care.
Yeah, no, she, they wouldn't care. And things like, Prince Charles comes over. This was probably, 10 or 15 years ago now, but I'll never forget it. Prince Charles came over and we, our taxpayers, paid $6 million for him to be here for 6 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you just hear, it's like, oh my God, really? Anyway. And that's why I think all of this, I'm a bit of a Harry and Meghan fan.
I am too, but for completely different reasons. I'm a bit of a Harry fan because he seems to be a bit anti-monarchy as well.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I love the rebel side of them.
Yeah.
Like, I absolutely agree. Harry's just like, yeah, nah. I think that probably he gets it. It's all a bit ridiculous too.
And he's probably actually not. I mean,
Oh, Jade, don't.
We know that Charles is not his father, so he's not part of the royal family anyway. We all know that. Yes. Well, we can all assume that.
We will. I know, but I've always liked Harry. I think Harry is the better looking brother for a start. I think he did. I think he did better with. I think he did really well with Meghan. And I think that they're going to be very happy in LA. Not that it's got anything to do with me, and I don't know them from a bar of soap, but we've basically we've turned this into a new idea segment. By the way, do you realise that, Jay?
That's fine. You know what? But now that we've gone through all of the things that we can and can't do with the river and blah blah, it's time for a little bit of light relief and talking about Harry. You know what? And we've done it much better than New Idea on Women's Day do anyway. Just saying. That's
true. Yeah. I'll pay that.
Yeah. Well, I will let you get back to work. It's so good to just have some positive news.
I know.
And I suppose there's still some detail to come with the permits and things. So we just keep an eye on the New South Wales Services website. Make sure you've got the right permit. But even today I've heard people are just they're having a much easier time getting across the border and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah. Well, the team, they actually went to so Jimmy and Jens and Stevie went over to Baronga. They got their permits before. They went over to Baronga to get hot chips.
Stop it. Really?
No, yeah, they did. So I know, I can say from experience, it was very easy for Jen to get those 3 permits, and they all piled into Stevie's car and they came back with,
Did they bring you hot chips at least?
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay then.
I put in my order. Yeah. and they stopped at the Midway Centre and got some like cookies and things and donuts and yeah. So they're making the most of it.
Excellent. It might be time to go to the Euston Pub, I reckon, if that's open soon. And I haven't heard an update on that, so hopefully it is. A night at the Euston Pub is just what everyone needs. So now that we can travel, are we having you in Robinvale anytime soon?
Oh, I can't wait. Yes, I cannot wait to be back in Robinvale because we love that. Like getting back into this is what I'm excited about, getting back into the zone of sort of 1 week Parliament, next week on the road.
Yeah.
Parliament Road. Like it's really good fun. And yeah, we love going to Robinvale and I'm so excited. It's Lock 13. Best place ever.
Yeah, I had a burger from there today. The Jack also working on getting the liquor licensing, because this is the thing. Daniel Andrews wants it to be like a cafe COVID recovery for the economy and whatever. And liquor licensing are apparently speeding through adjustments to liquor licensing. So the Jack is looking at moving their red line to the lawn and to the pool area. So poolside bar. Hello.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So yeah. So really excited about that. Every time we come to, the last few times you know this, when we come to Robinvale, it's the whole team. They won't stay home. They all want to come.
Good.
So yeah,
bring everyone.
It's great. It's heaps of fun. We love our road trips.
Excellent. Well, hopefully we will see you soon and keep us in the loop. Keep us in the loop with any other updates that you have as well. That'd be great. We appreciate it.
Definitely. Awesome. No worries. Thanks, Jade.
Okay. Thanks, Ali. Bye.
See ya.
The Vale Podcast, driven by Pioneer Ford Robinvale. It's worth the drive. Remember to support our sponsors and shop local.